Richard Wolff is a self-proclaimed Marxist economist, which doesn't make much sense because Marxists don't know much about economics, but he's been spreading his word for the past couple of years, and he's recently joined the Gravel Institute, who just passed PragerU in views or whatever they say. No one really cares. He joined the Gravel Institute, which is a Marxist institute which promotes Marxist ideals and anti-capitalist ideals and even super anti-American ideals. So let's debunk one of their videos. Now, I've seen this video on Instagram before and I've been waiting to debunk it, but I found it on YouTube and I was able to screen record some of the parts, and I am going to debunk it mercifully because you don't need half of a brain to debunk what Richard Wolff says. He's a freaking lunatic. Here we go.
Right now, as you're listening to this, you are being robbed. A chunk of everything your hard work creates is being stolen from you, and it's a system called capitalism that's robbing you. Every day when you check into work for your boss, you are being taken advantage of and stolen from. You are being deprived of the full value of what you contribute. Let me break it down. A capitalist isn't someone in a top hat burning library books to run a misery factory. Anyone who puts forward capital, money, to set workers in motion becomes thereby a capitalist. That is to say, they're acting as a capitalist. And what's their goal? People will tell you it's innovation or competition, but down the real world, it's pretty simple. Capitalists have one goal, and that goal is to turn a profit.
Now, I played the whole beginning of that video to add context into what he was saying, but I'm really going to only debunk the second half of it because the first half is just Marxian theory bullcrap that no one really cares about. So here we go. So the time he said they don't really care about innovation or competition, they only care about profit. This is why I say there's no way he's an economist, because there's no way a Marxist can be an economist. How do you think they turn a profit? How do you think these guys turn a profit? It's through innovation and competition, because if there was no innovation, if they didn't compete with other companies, and if they didn't innovate at the same levels as other companies, guess what? There's no profit to be made. So guess what, Richard Wolff? If there's innovation and competition, no profit, sorry. So in a way, they do care about only profit, but in order to get that profit, you have to worry about competition and innovation. So yes, they do care about competition and innovation, which is eventually a win for the consumer. Next clip.
We've been talking about good or evil here. Capitalists need to maximize profit to the exclusion of all other considerations, or they'll get eaten up by capitalists who are smarter or more ruthless than them.
Now, this is direct contradictory from what he said in the last clip. So what he said in the last clip was that they don't care about innovation and technology, and they don't care about any of that, or competition, I should say. They don't care about any of that stuff. But how do you think they would get eaten up by other capitalists? Is if the other capitalists out-competed them and out-innovated them. So, once again, in a way, they do care about competition and innovation, which, once again, is a win for the consumer. This is like the easiest thing I've ever debunked in my life.
Profit comes from you. Here's a little thought experiment. Meet Harold. Harold has a chain of buildings full of kitchens full of ingredients. But Harold doesn't know how to make a burger himself. How does Harold get someone to make enough burgers that he can sell them and turn a profit? It's not a trick question. He pays you because you know how to make really good burgers. The money he uses to pay you is what we call capital. That's money used to set production into motion. Let's say Harold spent $1,000 buying all the ingredients in the restaurant. And after you worked for a few weeks there, turning the ingredients into burgers, they brought in $3,000. Not bad. You added $2,000 worth of value to the ingredients. But wait, you don't get all the money, because Harold now has $3,000 on his hands. $1,000 of that is just making up for the cost of the ingredients. And if you were paid for the full value of your labor, you'd be making $2,000. But then Harold would only be breaking even on the burgers, and he needs to make a profit in order to survive. So Harold does not pay you for the full value of your labor.
this is actually a great example of how capitalism works. This is actually like a great example of what I like about capitalism. It's two people combining things that they have in order to make a great thing for the consumer. Here's why. So you have a capitalist who invests the capital into the ingredients, and then you have a worker who has the skill to turn the ingredients into something that the consumer likes. That to me is actually a pretty good thing. Let's talk about the individuals in this situation though, because the consumer wins automatically because they're getting a good burger, right? So let's talk about the capitalist, and this will eventually affect the worker. Why would the capitalist invest into the meat, lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, ketchup if they're not going to be able to get a profit back? So what I'm saying is there's no incentive to hire that person in the first place, and there's no incentive to give a burger to the customer if there's no profit motive. You're not going to invest into something if there's no profit motive. So if you have to give that profit to the customer, you're not even going to invest in the first place, which means no burger for the consumer, which means in the long run, if there's no one investing in no food at all, we might starve. And two, there's going to be no jobs, because if the capitalist has to give his profit to the worker, then he's not going to invest anything, in which there's no jobs. So you'd have to drastically change the system, which I know what they want to do, and communes don't work at all. But this is actually a great example of how capitalism works, and if you want to change it, it's not going to be a great outcome at all. The rest of this video is just the same thing. It's pretty much just adding on to what he said before, is that you're being robbed of your surplus value and a bunch of other Marxist bullcrap. And once again, I'm not sure how you can call yourself a Marxist economist, because Marxists don't know anything about economics. But anyway, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want me to debunk another Gravel Institute video, I will do that. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.